Welcome back to the Diamond K Show here on RadioOnFire.com. Of course, we're coming to you from the Radio on Fire studios here in Baltimore, Maryland. So, reparations. Reparations for slavery, more specifically. Of course, it's an idea that some form of compensation or payment needs to be made to the descendants of Africans that were trafficked and enslaved in the Americas as part of the Atlantic slave trade. A very nasty time, very bad business that took place and a part of America's history. Now, the idea of reparations is not a new one. After the slaves were freed in 1865, it's been an ongoing debacle because it never was handled. Going back 1925, years after slaves were set free, the Honorable Marcus Garvey said, "I, and I know you too, believe in time, and we shall wait patiently for 200 years if need be, to face our enemies through our posterity. When I'm dead, wrap the mantle of the red, black, and green around me, for in the new life I shall rise with God's grace and blessing." He continued, "Look for me in the whirlwind or the storm. Look for me all around you. I shall come and bring with me countless millions of black slaves who have died in America and the West Indies, and the millions in Africa to aid you in your fight for liberty, freedom, and life." So lastly, Marcus Garvey said on this subject, "I shall write the history that will inspire the millions that are coming and leave the prosperity of our enemies to reckon with the hosts for the deeds of their fathers." So very strong words. Marcus Garvey was a great man. And, so it really brings to light the biggest part of the debate, and that is the sons or the sins of the father coming down to the children. Here at Radio on Fire, we speak directly to urban America, giving you that perspective that's different from mainstream media, because a lot of times they don't have our best interests at heart, talking about the urban culture. Mainstream media not representing that. RadioOnFire.com, we have a lot of content, a lot of exclusive content for our premium subscribers, but free content nonetheless, covering sports, entertainment, news, politics, urban culture, all types of topics. I encourage you to go to RadioOnFire.com/join. Become a premium subscriber. You get a lot of extra perks and exclusive content. Or you can make a one-time donation. RadioOnFire.com/join. Support independent media. Support Radio on Fire. So we're talking about reparations and taking a look at both sides of this debate. And, you have people that are against reparations, black and white. But for the most part, people who are against reparations are coming at it from a certain angle. And I'm going to try to objectively look at that. But right now we're going to talk about the argument for reparations. So some people will say, people that think that the time for reparations has passed, people like that will say that the descendants of slaves in America were not slaves themselves, and therefore they don't deserve the reparations. That's what people that are against the argument will say. And I liken it to this. Imagine if you worked a job and your pay was being withheld. And you worked the job for many years and your pay was withheld. Even if you worked the job for 1 year and your pay was withheld. Even if you worked the job for a month and your pay was withheld. You did not receive the pay. And you died. You died. Would your descendants be entitled to go and retrieve your earnings that you did not receive for whatever reason? Yes, they would. Now, if litigation happened and the direct descendants passed away, would the descendants of them, would the grandchildren be able to get this? And of course, we're talking about, it would need to be a significant amount of money. But so that's one instance. So the descendants would be able to get that. Now, let's look at it deeper, because the amount of money that you would get from the job for a few months or even a year is not even measurable to the amount of money that we're talking about. Over 4 million people. So let's say that in your lifetime, you created something. And then another company took your property, your intellectual property. And you were having litigation about it, and through the litigation, you passed away. And this litigation continued a few generations. You're going back and forth. Would you not be entitled to the money? Of course you would. You can look across British and American corporations and institutions that still benefit from the wealth that they created from slavery. So how is it that not only were the freed slaves, they weren't entitled to anything, they didn't get anything, and their direct descendants, they didn't get anything, and then you have generations and generations, nothing. And then now at this point, they say, too much time has passed. Too often, that is how the American government works. And now that a lot of damage has been done with the economics, the wealth, a lot of this stuff has been set. And now they're saying, you weren't a slave, I was a slave owner, blah, 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 blah. Now, the thing about it is this. Let's just say, divvying up money and trying to figure out where it would come from, it would come from essentially taxes, right? Taxpayers, right? If it came from there, we spend a fraction of that on the military, so it wouldn't even put a dent in anything. But they don't even want to give you that. So my thing is this: what's so crazy about this is even if you didn't give them 1 red cent, the descendants of slaves, but people were remorseful and understanding, I think that would go a long way. Because a lot of people write, while people were not in bondage that are living now, we feel the effects from it. And when we see the effects from slavery, it brings up the fact that people were just robbed of their dignity, forced to work for free, enriching many people. Now, some opponents of reparations will say, well, everybody wasn't enriched, and that's true. But many people were, and many more, countless others died while slaves. So we're going to continue this. We'll take a quick break, and we will be back after this, continuing our discussion on reparations, both sides. Reparations for the descendants of slaves here in America. What are your thoughts on reparations?
definitely okay. Now me, I'm all for, the love of black culture, Afrocentrism. I'm just really that is something that is really, 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 really embedded into my core.
Hmm.
Um, I grew up, as a Muslim, and I have a background in that, so that really kind of shaped me as an individual with such a great love for my culture and my people and celebrating African Americans in such that way. I'm a really, really big a fan of reparations because I feel like every ethnicity, every subset of people have received reparations, but the African Americans have not received reparations.
That's true.
And I don't know why. You know what it seems like? Every couple of years we run into this topic where we talk about reparations. It's
Right.
a hot topic now. In the past we talk about it. It comes up frequently where we're discussing reparations. And I really hope that in some way, shape, or form, we as a people can receive our just due.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. And I don't know if it will happen. It should happen. It is long overdue. And a lot of people that are against it use the debate of you or me or anybody in this generation, we were not the enslaved people. So therefore, there should be no reparations for us. And they're saying that they, their generation, the white people in this generation were not slave masters and we were not slaves. So how can we as descendants have to pay the price, so to speak? And that could not be more wrong because there's so many systematic things that happen because of slavery that affected generations and generations.
Even today.
Even today.
With the criminalization of African Americans, where does
Right.
that stem from? Where does
Exactly.
that stems from slavery?
Exactly. And so that it is a lot of people have different views on this. And I think usually, generally speaking, it is white people don't understand it totally. And black people, there's just a divide as the way that we look at it. And then so some of the presidential candidates, they asked Bernie Sanders what he thought about reparations. And he said that there are better ways to address the crisis in African American communities than writing a check. That's what he said.
So did he give some example? Okay, if you tell
He don't
me,
have no examples.
Yeah, if you tell me this is not the solution and there are better ways that we can bring resolve to this particular issue, my mind gonna go to, okay, what do you think is a more beneficial approach than what I've already suggested? So if he can't provide on his platform, open avenues of exploration to resolve
Right.
the issue of reparations, then it's like kind of like you're putting a blanket over it. No,
Right,
they
right.
don't deserve it. I'm dismissive of it. It's a better way, but you don't list the better ways.
Right. And it's unfortunate, but a lot, and like you said, there have been reparations given to multiple cultures, but not the African American culture.
So my thinking is, why do you think reparations haven't been given to almost every culture, almost every ethnicity due to, a traumatic or catastrophic event?
Yeah.
But why do you think that there is a reason why it hasn't been provided to African Americans?
I think because if you look at the formation of this country and how they put the whole thing together, you had enslaved people when this country was created, and some of the people who would be vital for the reparations to happen are, the ones that say, I believe in the Constitution and this and that. And they really believe the way that this country was organized is the way that it should be. And so they feel, that it's really a part of the whole structure of America. And so even though slavery was eventually outlawed, except for people who are in prison. They feel like, okay, that part's over, but they're not going to go any further than that. And with other people who were treated incorrectly or criminal, they didn't have a problem giving them money, because I don't think that was something that was around for the formation of the country, and they can kind of use. I think they used the fact that slavery was around when the country was formed as a way to almost accept, that's what it was, and we moving forward. You know what I mean?
But it's kind of funny. The ones that say they're moving forward are the ones that haven't been affected by that experience.
Yes.
So what I really want to say is you can't minimize someone else's experience, even if these were their descendants.
Right.
Like, you can't minimize someone else's experience. So I go to two parts. Hopefully I can remember my second part. But the first part, I want to say, well, the country was formed in this way. Slavery has been $1 million moneymaker for this country. So if this country was formed on the foundation of slavery, then why isn't there just due?
Yes,
Free labor,
absolutely.
Blood, sweat and tears, lynching, death, everything else. Then why isn't it the equal answer for that?
Right. And it's you have so many corporations whose wealth was built on the backs of the blood money from slavery, the blood money, and then you have the descendants of those enslaved people that are feeling the repercussions of not having, not having money and economic power. So I think that we deserve it. I think that it's going to be a long fight, and I don't think that is the only fight. There are other fights, and so I don't want people to only focus on this fight exclusively. Like, we still have to get some other things together. It's like if somebody owes you money, but you still work your job and you're still trying to do other things to make more money, and people still owe you money. So just because somebody owe you money doesn't mean that you stop the other things as well.
Okay.
And I don't want people to but don't stop the reparations fight either. But we still got to continue all other stuff too.
And I just remember my second point. My first point I already listed. My second point is basically about the money issue. Okay, since slavery has affected us and a large number of people, we're talking about what? What do you think it is? Billions, trillions of dollars? If African Americans were to actually get reparations, we're talking about a larger dollar value than any, this is my just personal opinion, than any nationality, than any ethnicity. Because that's why I think maybe they're not so much, it's a lot of resistance to give African Americans reparation, because the dollar value would be very, very significant. You have
4 million African Americans released from bondage at that time. 4 million. Now we're not even counting the ones that passed, that died in bondage. 4 million people were released in 1865. So the descendants of all those people, how many people was that?
That's probably going to go into billions.
Yes. We talking about billions of dollars. You're talking about billions of dollars. And but the thing is that here's the part that really confuses me. A lot of people would put money back into the economy when they received it. They're going to be paying off bills. They're going to be buying things. I don't understand what the big deal is about them giving us a just due, because everybody's not going to invest their money. A lot of people are going to spend the money. The economy is going to get that money right back in a lot of instances. Not all of it, but a good deal of it.
But you know what I thought when you first said that? The way the economy works now, it works in a way where the government wants to control where the allocation of funds go.
Yes.
So if I'm giving reparations to what would you say, 400 million? You said 400 million descendants? 400?
4 million.
4 million.
Yeah.
If I'm giving reparations to 4 million descendants, then I can't necessarily control the spending of these descendants. I don't know where the money is going to go, and I need the government to function in a way that I see best fit as the officials and the upper execs of the government.
Right.
So that's where they're kind of losing their power.
Right. And it's just they would try to make it harder than it had to be in order for it to be done. It needs to happen. Hopefully it'll happen. Do you think it will happen in our lifetime?
I'm wishful.
Yeah.
I'm wishful. I encourage it. I'm hopeful, but is it probable? My answer, probably not probable. I still encourage it. I still entertain the thought. I encourage those to advocate for reparations if they see it necessary, but not likely in my lifetime.
Right. Yeah, I'm afraid that you are right. So, the fight continues.
The fight continues. The fight always continues.
Yeah. I want to thank you for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
And all of that. You want to shout out your social media or no?
My social media is my name. My name is Yardyn, Yardyn, Graham, and Graham, Graham. You can find me on Facebook. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that is wonderful, and I follow you. You always say nice things, and
I try to be encouraging.
Yes, you are. You're so positive.
I thank you. It took a lot of growth, but I'm grateful.
You wasn't always positive.
I had to grow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to be to where I'm at now. So I'm blessed and I'm grateful.
That's good. So definitely thank you so much. And you'll be back again, right?
I definitely will be back again.
Wonderful. Okay, so definitely thank everybody for tuning in. Of course, Radio on Fire, we have over 20 different shows here. You can always go and catch up on radioonfire.com/shows and pick the show that you want to see and support everything that we have going on. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, the share button, all that kind of stuff. Helps the show out. I will be back tomorrow with another episode, and thank you for tuning in.